Today, we have an awesome guest, Mr. Keith Staten.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. So, for those people that don't know, like always, tell us about yourself.
Oh, man, my name's Keith Staten. A local barber around here in Sedalia. Got a little barber shop on 5th Street called Tren Setterz. That's 108 West 5th Street. And that's just what I do, man.
Well, how did that? Let's get into that. So, how did that start? Where did the idea come from, or like how did that all come to be?
Well, I've been cutting hair since probably 7th grade, cutting my own hair.
Okay.
Couldn't afford a haircut. I had to learn how to do it myself. I tried to go to barber school probably 15 years ago, and they told me I had to do pedicures and touch people's feet, and I just couldn't do that, man. So I kind of checked out of that. And then, man, I was selling cars and spending 50, 60 hours a week selling cars, and just got tired of that and just decided to enroll in barber school, man, and just went from there.
Went from there and just chased after it.
Yep.
That's good. As a lot of people know, and we go over this every time, but it's like we love having entrepreneurs, strong-minded people on this show that are from Sedalia. And it's always good to see people chase their dreams. And it's like, earlier we were talking, and we were talking about childhoods and stuff like that. And it's so funny because you just said it. You said, "Oh, well, I couldn't afford my own haircut,"
right.
And it's like we were just talking about like how we can interpret that. We can interpret that as a ball and chain, or where it's going to put me, or we can look at it as like, no, that's just another stepping stone.
Right. I didn't, like I said, man. You can let your past kind of define you, or things that happen to you can push you one way or another. You know, you can either go down one path and feel sorry for yourself, or try to pick yourself up and, you know, use that to your advantage, man. And that's kind of what I kind of did with the barbering thing.
Now, let me ask you this. So, you said you started in 7th grade. Do you remember like your first haircut experience?
Yeah, I went bald.
You went bald?
Yeah, I had to take it all the way off, man.
Was it?
Yeah, I messed it up. I messed it up, man. So I had to cut it. I was bald a few times throughout my school days, man, and that was strictly because I messed it up.
I've only had the bald cut one time when I went into basic, and it was so funny because it's one of those situations where I remember everybody that did have their hair done, or even if they got the high and tight, like they're like, "I'm ready," and it's like it don't matter. It's like they sit you in that chair and it's zip, and it's gone. And the best ones were the longest hair people, because they're just like, you know, and it itches so bad. Like,
I can imagine that, man. We've cut a lot of hair where people were down to their back, had to take it off, so I can imagine the shock.
Now, did you go to any barbershops growing up? Like, did you remember getting your first cut at?
Okay, my very first haircut was
I love hearing this.
After butchering myself probably 20 times, man. All the kids, you know, I wouldn't call them privileged kids. They just had things that I couldn't afford. You know what I'm saying? They used to come to school with these little designs all in their head, man, and I always wanted one. And
the lightning bolt, or
man, all this stuff. And it's a guy named Billy Foster used to cut at a place called Viv's Place. It was downtown, and I lived out in the Anthony Buckner Apartments. We called it the Project. That's where I was living, and I couldn't afford no haircut like that. So the haircuts was $7 back then, man. And I saved up every little dime I could get, man, and went up there and got me a professional haircut. Got me a little swirly swoop in my head, man, and that was probably the first and only time I was ever in a barbershop.
Really? Wow.
Actually, that is the only time I was ever in a barbershop until I opened up one myself.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
It's, you know what's so funny is that in Tipton, they had a little barbershop that Hutch ran. I don't know, is he still there, Taylor? Do you know? Okay. Well, I remember being there, and like you said, it was probably like a $7 haircut and stuff. But I remember somebody coming to the door and being like, "How much just to take it off?" And he was like, $7.
That's right.
And he goes, "But I just want it shaved off." And he's like, "I'm a professional. It's like you don't just buzz somebody's head. It's like there is an art to it. It's just doing it right, making sure everything's good, so the clippers don't get just wasted in the hair." And
I think he's full of shit, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying,
Yeah.
though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people come in there and they want something simple, but when you sit down in the chair, it's still a haircut. Like, you know, no matter what, you don't want anything off the top, it's still a haircut. If you want all of it gone, it's still a haircut. No matter how simple it seems to somebody, it's still a haircut. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I think that's where people kind of, you know, get a little confused and
well, they gotta respect the craft.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's like you got yourself there, and the lights got to stay on.
They got to stay on,
man. You know, you got to talking on like the swoops or the designs and stuff. And man, do you ever remember a movie? I think it's called How High, and the dude had the braids, and he had like the I think it's a car running through it. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I remember the movie, but I only seen it probably once. It wasn't something I watched over. So.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool, but but on the like designer stuff, trends and everything over the last decade, you know, there's been so many different ones. When I was growing up, we joked about it, but it was like when Eminem had the blonde hair. You know, I went in and I got my hair dyed blonde like an idiot and did the whole thing. Is there any trends that you see even in the barbershop?
Man, it kind of differs from race, really.
Okay.
Black, you know, we get like skin fade or tapers. You know what I'm saying? Got to make sure the hairline is crisp. Can't have a crooked hairline. That's what we work. You know, that's one thing that as black people we care about. Hispanics, man, they're all over the place. It kind of, you know, if one gets a low fade, the other one wants a low fade. You know what I'm saying? And then it goes to a taper, and they kind of just switch it up. You got to stay on your toes when you cut their hair because it's never the same. Like, they'll have you doing different kinds of styles, you know what I'm saying? Which is cool, though, but it puts you to the test, you know what I'm saying? We get a few white people in there. I think they come in and they see two black barbers and they think that we probably can't cut their hair. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean that is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? But then they're surprised when we get down. Like, shit, you boys can cut. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really go to the skin phase as much, but we pretty much can do anything.
I just do like. And it's just because of the military. I know it is, but it's the high and tight. Yeah. But I was always like, when I always went to get my hair cut because I was, you know, want to be super soldier, I'd be like, high and tight. That means high. Yeah. It's like, I see a lot of people do high and tights, and to me, it's like they're too low for me and my comfort. I like it up, and just, I don't even know. What do you think the biggest challenge when, like, or challenging haircut is?
Well, there's a few haircuts that are hard to do. I mean, they're not really hard. Like I said, you get like a Hispanic person, or say like a white person in there with dark hair, and they want a skin fade. Getting that little bottom line out, you can create a line in there that's hard to get out. So that's probably the hardest thing to do is that real dark hair.
See, I would have thought the exact opposite. I would have thought lighter hair would be harder.
Blonde hair is real hard to do too. Blonde and that strawberry, like reddish, blondish hair is real hard to do. You kind of got to play with your light so you can see exactly what you're doing, because those lights, if you know they're bright like this on some blonde hair, you can't see nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
So, yeah, those are pretty hard to do. But, you know, after a while, you kind of get used to it. And the more you do it, the more hair you cut, you just get better and better and better. I've looked at cuts that I did in school that I thought was good. and they're horrible. Like, they're horrible. But back then, I thought they were great. But just over time, you just get better and better. So in a few years, I can only imagine where I'll be.
That's fun, man. It's going to be great to see. Now, do you do beard fades too? Do you fade the beard or do work on beards as well?
Yep, we do beard trims. I got another barber that works there with me, my boy Reese from Chicago, best barber in town.
Okay,
I mean that.
Straight
I
from
mean
you.
that, man. I defer to him, man. The boy's good, and especially with beards, man. So if anybody needs their beard trimmed, Reese is the man to come see. I promise. There's nobody in this town. And I'm not taking away from people. Because Wolfie gets down too. And you got a free shout out, Wolfie. Wolfie gets down also. But yeah, Reese, man. Hands down, man.
Can he handle Taylor's
beard? He's a bad boy. Oh, man. He'll clean him up. He'll clean him up, man. Yeah.
I always joke with Taylor. Taylor grows the fastest beard I've ever seen. Yeah. I saw him babyface for about an hour. and then it was back.
No, man. My boy Reese got you, man, and he can cut women's hair. He does it all, man.
Do you have a lot of women that come in at all? Or?
I had a few, but it was. I will not touch a woman's head if it's long and they want like a little off. I'm not touching it because women are different than men. Men will be like, "Oh, it'll grow back." Women, they can ruin your shop.
Well, there's a lot of jokes about it, but it's like there was a documentary I watched some of about, let's say, like black women's hair. Mm-hmm. They are particular.
Yeah, I will not get a black woman.
I don't blame you.
I will like if she wants like a fade or something that's basically like a man's haircut. Yeah, but if it's long, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I have my cousin Viola Staten, Ula's Beauty Salon. She can do that. I send a lot of people to her that I don't think I can do. You know what I'm saying? If I struggle with something.
Well, that's good of you to do too.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of places they don't want to do that, but that's good of you to do. Now, do you braid?
I do not braid. Absolutely not. I'm giving a lot of shout outs here, man.
Well, they'll be appreciative. They'll be appreciative. So, they have the IOUs coming back.
My cousin Ula braids. She has a couple of braiders down there that also braid, but I have the person who used to braid my hair when it was longer. Her name's Christy, and she's white, and she can braid her ass off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
she can braid her ass off.
Okay. On that topic, been in the medias, the social medias and stuff on white people getting braided hair. What's your take?
It doesn't really bother me, man. I don't. Or do you mean like cultural appropriation type of thing? Is that what you ask?
Yeah, I want to know. You know what? It's like we're friends. Man, I feel it's all right to ask.
It doesn't bother me, man. I mean, who knows where braids were invented? It could have been in the Vikings. It could have been in Africa. Who knows? I don't care if people get braids. I don't care if people get weave or whatever they want to do with their head is on them. You know what I'm saying? I don't really judge people like that. We got a couple of white kids that come down to our shop and get their hair braided. Christy comes in every once in a while.
Okay.
If we need somebody to get their hair, we need somebody's hair braided, she'll come in there and braid it. And there's a couple white guys that came in and got their hair braided.
You know, one of the funny things about that though, the braids were the topic of discussion on that. And to me, it's like I always thought about dreads. Nobody said anything about them, about like dreads and what it's like because. And you look at like Bob Marley, and then you look at I would have a horrible association here, but you look at a lot of like white hippies and stuff, and it's like that's been around, especially for females. I know that they've been doing that for a long time.
Well, there's a guy that comes across to the Liberty Center, man, and I don't know exactly what he does. He's a white dude. He's got dreads all the way down his ass. You know.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, I guess you could just take pride if somebody likes your culture, you know what I'm saying, where they want to appropriate it or whatever. But it doesn't bother me. I don't look at people one way or another.
I think that's a good viewpoint.
Yeah. So.
Now for yourself, and we were talking. So this is the other thing. I think for me, I always find it when I see braids, really the first thing that I'm always wondering is, how long is their hair?
Yeah.
That's always the first thing, because I'm like, how long does your hair have to be to actually be braided?
It really just depends on, like they always make jokes about like Africans, because Africans can braid like the smallest bit of hair. Like they can take it, I don't know how they do it, and they can braid it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I say if your hair is probably about 2 inches long, it can probably be braided.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Mine wasn't very long when I first got mine braided. But once it gets braided, it grows pretty fast.
Oh,
So, yeah. I don't know what it is about the hair being twisted up, but it grows fast. Like when you see dreadlocks,
mhm.
you know, they'll start off as an inch or two, and in 2 years, they're all the way down your back.
Dang, that's
Like,
crazy.
you know, I don't know how that works. I'm not a biologist, but
Well, I know that like my biological grandpa, he has he's 94,
Mhm.
still full head of hair, all silver, white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, but still there. And he's worn a hat every day of his life. Is that a myth?
obviously, if he still got
I mean,
full head of hair,
I know.
man. But me personally, man, I used to wear a hat all the time when I was a kid, man, and it felt like it really rubbed the back of my head bald. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It does put indentions. You can tell when somebody comes in. You're cutting their hair and they wear a hat all the time.
Mhm.
You can see that indention or glasses. You can see, and then it almost makes it look like there's a line. You'll be sitting there digging, trying to scrape out a line. It's not there. It's an indention. So I think it does have some kind of effect on your head. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
You know, like with a hat, like that never occurred to me. Now, we're gonna go back to some of these styles and some of the fun stuff. Flat tops. You know, do you like? What's your take on that? Do you do some flat tops every now and then? I think
Describe a flat top to me. Like,
okay.
What's a flat top
So
to you?
first, I'm gonna put this out there. First off, super jealous because there's just some stuff that I've said this before. I remember I was talking to McKinley on one of our first episodes about jewelry, and I was like, I wish I could look as good as a black man or a black female wearing some jewelry because it's not the same. You know what I mean?
It's all about how you feel, man.
I wish I had I don't have it. I don't have it. But I will say that like on a flat top, I've always liked that cut too.
Yeah.
And but what I mean is just like straight up and on the top.
Like a little box.
Box.
Yeah. A little kid and play, man. What's your question about it?
Is it like how long does it stay in place? I guess it's like what I'm wondering.
If you're black, it ain't gonna move.
No, not at all.
At all.
Really?
Like if you're black, like, and I'm not talking. I mean, you gotta be black. Like you gotta have hair
fine.
like mine.
Yeah.
You can't be mixed, or because mixed people have curly hair, or Hispanics have sometimes curly hair, straight hair. But like straight black hair, it just stays. It's just like afros. We don't need anything to do if our hair it just grows out.
Do you think it's like more dense in a sense?
Oh, it's just definitely more coarse and probably a lot more dense. It is just tight, coarse hair. You know what I'm saying? And it's the curliest hair on earth.
Yep.
So,
which I think that's a big misconception too. A lot of people see when I watched the documentary that was a big thing for females.
Yeah.
That their hair curls a lot more than people realize, and that's why they have to do different types of extensions or
a lot of people, man, they say, oh, your hair is kinky or it's nappy, and it's funny, man, because when I started off barber school, I started going to this school up in Kansas City because I didn't know that there was 2 schools down here in Sedalia, so I was driving to Kansas City every day to go to this barber school called Metro Barber College, and it was 99% black people, you know what I'm saying? And I know I'm rambling, but
no, you're good. Go away. That's what we're here for.
I cut this little kid's hair, and it was so coarse that I couldn't get my clippers through it. You know, like his hair was tight. And so anyway, I ended up finishing it, and another guy came in and got his hair cut. And it was an older man. He was probably in his 60s, close to 70, and he had this real fine, smooth hair. You know what I'm saying? And I made a remark about, man, I'm glad, I got somebody in here with good hair because that last hair, it was just too tight. And, man, he checked me so fast, man. And I mean, how far can we talk on here?
Go
Because
go
he
for it.
checked me, man. He's like, you know, no offense, but he's like, man, you were taught that my hair is good hair. You know what I'm saying? About
Mhm.
what you saw in the media and how you grew up and what they showed you. They told you straight hair was good hair, curly hair was good hair. He's like, nah, that little boy had the good hair. He has the strongest hair on this earth. You know what I'm saying? He's like, so don't you ever sit there and tell me about what's good hair and what's bad hair. That boy's got good hair. He's like, I can't stand my stringy shit. And that's what he said, man. And so I've never looked at anybody's hair like that again. You know what I'm saying? I try to teach my sons that, you know, no matter how tight your hair is or it might not be as curly as so-and-so's, man, you have good hair. That is good hair. You know what I'm saying? Be proud of your hair. Be proud of who you are.
It's so funny how you have those moments, and it's like you'll never forget that.
Right.
That was probably like a defining moment for you in your business.
He checked me.
And we all need it. We all, at some point or another, we have to have somebody come in and give us a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and just hearing you talk too, it goes to the finesse of being a barber, being a hairstylist. It's like you may work like the monotone of pressure that you put on something. It's like if you go from somebody that does have, like you just said, rich, healthy hair that's strong, and you might have to put some pressure and slowly cut it. And then you get the next person, and it's like, if you go in with that same attitude, then you're going to be like, oh, no.
It's definitely all about touch, man. It's all about touch, how you angle your clippers, man, because it doesn't take 1 second for somebody to have a patch in their head, man, missing. So,
now, has that happened?
Yeah, man, it's happened a few times, man. I can pretty much fix it, but there's a few times, man, where I got a little overconfident. You know what I'm saying?
Honest,
and I would go in and think the hair is going this way, and it was going that way, man. They tell you to always check the hair before you start cutting it, so you know the pattern of it. But sometimes you can get a little cocky and just start cutting, and people have multiple cowlicks, so you go the wrong way.
That's literally was my next question, because I have like a dual cowlick. I got I think one on each side. At least I don't know anymore. It might have conformed into one to one because of just the way I've always cut it. But it's like the guidance of those. Yeah, you have to pay attention, right?
It's rough, man. Cowlicks are rough, especially you got kids that come in there with two of them on the front of their head, each side of their head. My brother has one right in the middle of his head, so his hair grows backwards.
Okay.
It took me a while to figure that out. I kept going forward and taking a chunk out of his head and couldn't figure it out. So I saw that his hair goes backwards right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. You run into some crazy stuff, man.
I can only imagine. I admire it. I love hearing it because it's just like that. It's like hair growing backward. That's not a term you hear. That's not, but it's a term you have to know.
Yeah.
You have to figure that out. That's the stuff that regular people don't think about, and that's what I like to hear, like get into and figure out.
Well, they tell you it's against the grain, man. Against the grain, you don't want to go against the grain, but they don't tell you. Everybody thinks the grain goes forward. Sometimes the grain goes back.
What's the most amount of cuts do you think you've done in a day?
Oh, man. So when I first opened, it was just me in there by myself. And I opened on a Friday. That Tuesday was the very first day of school. And I was in there by myself. So, no, this was Monday. Tuesday was the first day of school. So this was a Monday. And I probably had about 25, 30 people in there. At this time, I only had 3 waiting chairs, like lounge chairs, and 2 barber chairs, and 2 shampoo bowls, which basically had there you could sit on them, So that's all I had, and there were just people just standing, and I was just looking at them, and it was my first. I only been open like 3 days, man. I wasn't even confident with my haircuts all the way, but man, I had about 30 people, man, and it was wild. It was wild.
I feel like I don't want to push religion, but it's like I always feel like we get those weird tests from God. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, you got me here. It's like,
what you want,
I'm so happy, and then you look out and you're like, Oh no! Like,
Yeah.
really?
The first one or two came in. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then they just kept coming in, and I'm like, then they're just rolling in and rolling in and rolling. Pretty soon, everybody was just standing up, and I didn't have a TV at the time. I didn't have any music, so it was just me under
So
a microscope, and people just staring at me, waiting on their turn. You know what I'm saying? So that was probably the most hectic day, just because I was by myself.
the first my first day working at GNC alone, because I feel for you. I do.
Yeah.
Like, our boss does a really good job. He really tries to make sure that we're educated before we're just thrown out there. And we, I was way too confident going into it because he'd kind of let me have the reins, but he was always there.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first day, it was a Sunday. It was only 5 hours. It was noon to 5. Well,
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
And this was the day that I swear to you, everybody that had that question,
Mm-hmm.
that question, not the easy stuff, that like,
Yeah.
hey, do you have shark cartilage? And it's just like, what is that? What does that do?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there with a book and I'm flipping through it and I'm making phone calls, having to ask him. And it was humbling. It was humbling because you have to always have room to grow.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
can't believe in your own head that you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
To be successful or to advance yourself, I honestly believe it's like you always have to think, I don't know everything.
Right.
Because just like hearing your story, you're like, I didn't have a radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I bet one of the first things you did were like TV, radio.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to figure this out. I got to get some tunes in here.
Yeah, some kind of entertainment just to keep people from staring at me and let their time go by a little bit faster.
Uh-huh.
And so now we keep people pretty entertained while they're waiting on the haircut. But yes, that's that confidence and cocky, man. Like there's a fine line between that. It's all right to be confident, you know what I'm saying, but you don't want to be overconfident because that turns into cockiness. And
Way
then
too fast.
You'll be humbled real quick.
I think it's so funny because I have it here on one of these the topics I was going to bring up or just ask you about, and you kind of answered a little bit. It was like busy days, and I literally put on here first day of school. Mm-hmm. What's that like? And like you just said, so it's like now you're dealing with a lot of teenagers, young teenagers, and I think that one of the most important haircuts we all think about is like first day of school. You're going into high school, you got to be fresh.
Yep. The first day of school, that's a busy day. Picture days are pretty busy.
Oh, I didn't think about
the day before pictures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can kind of, it's good because I have a son, so I can tell when it's coming. But sometimes you get caught off guard, because my son sometimes he forgets to tell us things. You know what I'm saying? So, and anybody that knows my son, they know him. But yeah, it's those are the busy days.
What about
Saturdays?
Like prom is like, do you get the fresh ones for prom and everything?
Yeah,
too?
we got a nice little rush for prom. Graduation was pretty busy, but yeah, usually if it's an occasion, those are our busy days. Saturdays are always busy.
Saturday. Speaking of which, what are your hours?
My hours are Tuesday through Saturday, but Tuesday through Friday, it is 10 to 5. Saturday, we are open 9 to 12. I was open Monday through Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
A mistake.
Okay.
I never should have did that, but that was me being eager. You got to get your time off, man, because you'll get burnt out, and you start getting burned out in anything, man. You start doing stuff half-assed, and with haircuts, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of get by on certain things, but with that, that'll make or break your business. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So I decided to take Mondays off and cut back the hours on Saturdays, and that kind of helped a little bit.
Let me ask you about, you talked about barber school.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm cliche. It's stupid, and I like to educate myself. So the first thing that comes to my head is like the balloon with the shaving cream.
Yeah.
And the rate. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, man.
That's a real thing.
I had to do that in Kansas City at the barber school, and I had to do that here in Sedalia at the barber school. And I've never popped the balloon. I've never popped a balloon. I mean, it's pretty hard to do it. It's pretty hard to pop it. If you pop the balloon, you're digging in somebody's head. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Now, do you use a razor yourself?
Yeah, we do straight razors. For the most part, a lot of people don't get shaves, man. That come to we got one or two people that come and get shaves, and my boy Reese, he usually takes care of those because I haven't shaved since I've been out of school. I haven't shaved one person, and that's not because I didn't want to. It's just I haven't had anybody to come in and ask for a shave. You know what I'm saying? I've shaved a head, but I've never shaved anyone's neck or beard. You know,
I had the worst experience with the shave because it's not bad or nothing, but it was just funny. So before when I was in North Carolina, I'd go to a barbershop, and there was only one guy that did razors there, and I'd never had it done. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna have this checked out, you know?
Yeah, I think I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. Everything was fine, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back to him, you know. And one of my last visits there before I actually got out, he kind of fell on some hard times. Okay,
it happens.
So he's shaving me with the straight razor, and he's like, my wife left me. And and then he's like, I'm living at a hotel room. I'm working off tips. I mean, he's right at my neck.
Yeah, man.
And I'm just like, oh no, like
that's some pent up stuff in there, man. You don't want to raise it to your neck, man.
I was just like, maybe a different conversation at this moment. I didn't. And I was grateful to get through it. I gave him a good tip, but I was like, man, ever since then, I've never had somebody do that because I was just like, I hope they're not having a bad day, you know?
Well, hey, man, I swear to God, it's a thing, man. Sometimes I catch myself just raking somebody's head because I'm mad.
I was nervous, man. That's all I'm saying.
You realize you're doing it, man. It's like, you look up and their whole head's red. I've just been digging in it, man, because I'm having a bad day. So, yeah, man, you don't let nobody give you a shave if they're having a bad day, man. Nah, don't let them put a razor to your neck.
Now, the other thing that we'll segue perfectly into is like the conversation aspect. Conversation aspect. Barber talk. You know, one of the first times that I went to a barber, my dad took me, and because my mom was a single mom for a long time, so a lot of times I'd end up going to a hairstylist place instead of a barber shop. And I just remember the first time, went in there, wasn't necessarily big or anything, and I was like, okay, and we sat down, and it was just, I just remember, it's almost like a scene in a movie where it's like, I wasn't supposed to talk, and I knew it. I'm just like, it's like, you listen, you don't talk, and you don't say anything, and whatever you hear here is you don't repeat,
Stays in the shop.
Stays in the shop. So, I think that's a beautiful thing in the barbershop, the culture of talking. What's that like? Do you feel like a therapist at times? How does that go?
I mean, so there was you definitely feel like a therapist, man. But honestly, man, I kind of been like that my whole life. People always open up to me and say things to me that they, just to get things off their chest. So it's not new to me, but there was a little kid who came in the other day, just graduated, and he was talking about moving out and going to go do this on his own, but he's got these dreams of doing this. I'm like, well, you definitely don't want to move out of your parents' house, man. You're only 18 years old. If you want to have money, you're going to be broke. You're going to be living check to check, fresh out of high school, trying to do it all on your own. You're not going to make enough money, so you're going to be working just to have your own apartment.
Yeah, and in today's economy, for sure. I mean,
stay with your parents, man, as long as you can. I'll let my son stay with me until he's 30, if that's what it takes for him to get on his feet. You know what I'm saying?
And giving them but that's just it. You're giving them some good advice.
Yeah.
They need to hear.
Yeah, things like that, and we get all kinds of people coming there, And you can tell when somebody's going through something, man. And we've given all kinds of advice. It might not have been the best advice, but it's all we had. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can take what we tell you. Don't you blame us for nothing, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a. I think some people may think of it kind of jokingly, but it's like, you know, again, when you look at the movies, you'd always see like the older men in the barbershop, and it's like, well, who do you want advice from?
Right. And I always thought I was gonna be like the young guy, but I'm the old guy in there now. You know what I'm saying? Me and the other barber Reese, you know, we're the same age, and yeah, they come in there and they call us Unc or OG. I'm like, oh shit, man, I done graduated to that. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's cool though, man. Because they do look to us for advice, and man, and it's older people than us. You know what I'm saying? It could be anybody, man. They come in there and they break down and say what they have to say, and it's not always about breaking down. We have fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
Arguments about all kinds of topics, man, whether religion, politics, Trump, Biden, Obama, LeBron James, Jordan. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, man. We argue about everything in there, man.
Well, I know you got a Chicago hat on, so you know how I feel about LeBron, man. I don't know. This playoff series has been good.
Yeah, man. I like any playoff series with LeBron out of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. We were watching the game yesterday, and I just remember Joker, you know, he had a great third quarter, and then they were criticizing Jimmy Buckets. Yeah. And I looked at Taylor, and I said, I'm going to tell you one thing. I was like, that man is clutch. So I was like, don't count him out, because when it matters, and then right on the spot, 3-ball money from the corner.
You definitely can't count out Jimmy Butler. And I know, let me retract a little bit. I'm not going to say too much about LeBron James because he's got some crazy fans out there. You can't say nothing about him. But no, he's, LeBron, man, he's just a flopper. And I don't like that, man. I think he's too good to play as soft as he does. You know what I'm saying?
The only time, and I agree, and I know we're off topic, but I don't care. I want to talk about it because it's one of those where it's like, what kills me about LeBron is a lot of what you said. There's one time that I saw him where he had the line, that's when he played against the Warriors in that
first game where he dropped 50 points, 51. Like, that's exactly what I said, man. That's the first time I've seen that fire, like that kill. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there it is.
And when people want to compare him, it's like I always go back to, and I know it's different generations, blah blah blah, but it's like, you take Michael Jordan, you take Kobe Bryant, and you take LeBron James. Now, we know Kobe and Michael came out of high school, and we know that Michael came out of North Carolina.
Right.
But it's like, you put them their first day in the NBA, and you make them all go one-on-one. Who's losing the games?
Oh, LeBron's going to lose them games one-on-one.
Every time.
Yeah.
People don't understand. It's like, that fire was in those two. It's like...
Because they'll die before they lose. You know what I'm saying? LeBron won't do that. Exactly.
They hate to lose.
LeBron's fine with losing. I mean, he won't act like it, but he really, he's okay with it. Like, with them, you could just see the disdain and disgust in their face when they're losing.
I read this, or somebody posted it on Facebook, where they were talking about them in the finals and both being up, and they're like, and it was like both of them had like 2-0 leads. They're like, is it finished?
Yeah.
Is it finished? Don't ask me how I feel. It's like, because it ain't done yet.
Yeah, and then when they win it all, they're ready. They might celebrate for a night. Then they're back in the lab, man, going again. Like, for real, that's just how you got to be, man.
It's inspirational.
He's not like that. He is what he is, you know what I'm saying? But you understand, like, there's just different calibers of players, and there's tiers, man. And as talented as he is, there's something that he doesn't have that they have, and you can't teach it. You either have it or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
If he would have had the same attitude that 50-point game you mentioned, because I know exactly which one you're talking about, because that's the one, and it's kind of funny because you sit on your stool and you start to look and you go, and then it goes away and you're just like, oh, you had it.
If he had that, man, all the time, he'd have 8 or 9 rings right now.
I agree.
We wouldn't be having this discussion
at all.
We'd be talking about he's the greatest.
Now we got off topic. Sorry, we had to get that out of the way.
That's how the shop goes. That's it. How it starts. Just like that, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about tools. Okay? Like, everybody has their craft. Obviously we know clippers and stuff like that, but it's like, to you, what tools make a good barber?
Man, this is a good Reese would be perfect because he has like 50 pair of clippers, man. I'm the wrong guy to be asking because I feel like I can cut your hair with some scissors that you use in home ec or something, man.
Well,
But
both
Reese
skill.
is like, he's got every guard, every clipper, every trimmer. Man, he's all over it. You know what I'm saying? And he changes his blades out. He does this and this. And me,
Mhm.
I'm like, man, I'm gonna get the job done. Like, no matter what I have in my hand, I'm gonna make it happen. I don't have a ton of clippers, but I would say the best clipper to use that I like would be a Wall Seniors.
Okay.
I like them a lot. You know what I'm saying? Trimmers,
Well,
fabulous.
hearing that, it's cool because like that, it's like you can take two outlooks from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's two different types of crafts and two different types of magic in the hands.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody's capable of doing it with not a lot because you said it earlier. It's like I had to do my own hair. I had to work with what I had.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'm still capable. That's
right,
a
man.
good. That's a good way to be. And it's like, and if you can have all the other stuff and you're really good with it, you know, that's kind of where I was going with. Is like, does it take? It takes talent. It's
Yeah.
like your tools won't always define you. They
Nah,
help.
man, because you'll see a lot of barbers, man, with like I said, 50 different clippers, man, and looks like they cut somebody's head with a lawnmower. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying anybody like specifically because you can just look online. Look, you know what I mean? It's all over the place. You don't need 100 clippers to cut somebody. You only use one at a time. You know what I'm saying? Just get you a nice pair, get used to it, get comfortable with it, and master that pair of clippers. And I think your haircuts will be pretty consistent.
Now, do you use any particular hair product? Because like that, you were talking how black hair
Mm-hmm.
can be really it can hold in place and stuff.
Mhm.
But like for others, do you have any like particular thing, or do you have an aftershave you like to use, or anything like that?
I use like Level aftershave, and pretty much most of their products, they're pretty good. They're holding gels and pomades and stuff like that. They're pretty good. Um, but for like mixed kids or curly hair kids, we use like Cantu or other different curling creams. But that really just depends on. Most people don't want their hair styled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They don't really ask for it. They like, oh, I'm gonna go home, get in the shower, don't worry about it. So, we don't do it very often.
makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. And I saw you used to talk. Do you wash hair often, or
I have not washed a head since I've been out of barber school, man. Nobody asked for it. Nobody wants it. Reese does that. I'm gonna say that a lot.
that's okay.
Reese
Hey,
does a lot.
You give him credit.
I'm,
you know?
I'm telling you, man. The boy is good. If you want a good barber experience, come see Reese, man. He takes care of his people, man. But no, I think I washed maybe one, but a lot of people don't ask for it, man. And me, I'm all about keeping the ball rolling, man. I try not to spend too much time on people's heads. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if I do that, I'm gonna have to charge for it. You know what I'm saying? And that changes the prices, and it just turns into something else. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that you do, you have to charge for it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes
Time is
people
money. Yeah.
want it for free. You know what I'm saying? But if I take time to wash your hair, then that's taken away from a guy sitting there, and he might leave. He might go to somebody else. You never know. So I would have to charge for that. But most of my customers don't ask for that. I don't have my clientele is not real particular about that.
So it's right now it is just you and Reese.
Just me and Reese. We had one other barber, but he decided to take another career path, and it's just me and him right now, and it's really hard to find some help. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
and you're going to be particular. You have to
Yeah.
be. Again, it's like I hate to say that, but in today's world, I think people got a little lazy,
Mhm.
and I hate to say it like that, but it's just to me, it's true. I think a lot of people want the reward without the effort,
Yeah,
or the time put in.
and that's exactly what it is in that industry. People think they're going to hit the ground running, and that's not the case. I was one of those people. I thought, it's me. I know everybody knows me. They're going to come to me, and that is not the case. You really got to prove yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's a struggle for at least a year or two. Like, you really got to grind it out. It's going to be some slow days where you don't cut a single head. I mean, I get them days like that now. You know, where nobody comes in. You know, like I said, I'm old, man. I'll fall asleep in there, man. You know what I'm saying?
But you can't get discouraged.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is, because you're going to get one of them days where you never take a seat and you never eat. And you don't eat till 7 o'clock at night because you've been cutting from the time you walked in to the time it was, you know, to the time you left. So,
how's that? I don't know if I asked it earlier because I might have got off track. Like joint care in your wrist and everything like that. How's that feel?
It is, man. It is a thing, man. It really is. You feel it. Like, you really feel it in your knees and in your back, you know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of hunched. Like, you really got to be aware of how you're standing. Posture, you know what I'm saying? Like, your posture has to be perfect. And mine's not. So on them hard days, man, you know, you kind of squatting, and especially if you got kids, and, you know, your chair doesn't get up high enough. You're bending over, you're half cocked over. I mean, so it wears on your hamstrings, it wears on your knees, your back, your shoulders. I mean, it'll wear your shoulders out, man. Your wrist. Like,
yeah,
it's a hell of a profession, man.
We have a buddy, and he's a drummer. His name's Jason Joy, and but he cuts on the side as well, and it's one of those where he even talked about it's like drumming motions, and it's like it's affected him playing the drums from it. So I can only imagine, especially on busy days. Oh man,
yeah. And
hey, I know a place you can get joint care.
Where's that?
Is it GNC Sedalia?
Oh, okay. I'm in there.
Yeah, you are. You taking care of yourself? I know. I see you. Oh.
No, it's definitely a thing, man. Like, and it's not even the busy days, because kind of like once you get going, you don't really feel it. It's those slow days where you're just sitting around, and all of a sudden your hands are like twitching or going numb or something. That's when you really feel it. Like once you're in that groove and, you know, you're just busy, you don't even think about it until you get home and then you sit down and then you're done. Like,
isn't that kind of like a funny thing about age? It's like when you're a kid, you think about it, it's like you're always going, you're always moving, and you're never sore. And then as you get older and you slow down, you realize like being stagnant, that's the worst thing for you.
Oh man, it'll whoop you, man. It'll beat you down. I try to tell all kids now, man, to get in the gym, stay in shape. And
I see that too. You know?
The youth is wasted on the young, man, and that's true, man. But you got to walk through it to understand what they mean. You know what I'm saying? But if I could go back, I would definitely take better care of myself. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm not too late in the game to do it, but I tell all kids, man, especially I see kids in the gym, man, stick with it, because when you get older, man, you're gonna want to be as healthy as you possibly can, man, because it can go downhill fast. You know. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure again that's just something in the shop that good influence. You know, I think a lot of people overlook that. It's like you can get good influences from so many different areas, and we talk all the time. It's like the people we have on, they're promoting just good lifestyles. Like you just said, it's like go to the gym. Like I see you in the gym all the time. It's like you come to the store, you make sure things are good because you want to stay capable. You want to stay able to do what you do and to be able to do it for a long time. And it's like to me, it's just beautiful to hear people in this town have a common message like that. And I can only hope that, like you said, the youth listens. That's the hard part.
That's
you gotta listen.
Part, man. It's that old, you can lead a horse to water. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them kind of things, man. But I think for the most part, man, they listen to us, man. I mean, I can tell that it sinks in a little bit. Now, you know, whether they apply it or not, I don't know. But I can tell they're listening. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I got some just random questions.
Right.
And this is goofy. I don't know. It might be dumb.
There's no such thing, man.
Okay. So, we talked about an afro, right? Was it Larry King? He had the big one, didn't he? Or
Don King.
Don King.
I wouldn't even call that afro.
Larry King's not. No, that's different.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't have hair. Yeah, Don King. Sorry, but have you ever had somebody come in and be like, you know, zoom me up, make it happen?
That's funny, man.
I'm just curious.
It was just last week, man. This guy comes in, man, and I'm like, I never could figure out what to do with his head. It looked like that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as all over the place and rough as Don King's. I think he, strategically does that. But it was kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? And I would ask him, what did he want? You know what I'm saying? He's older. He's probably around 70. And he never could really tell me what he wanted, so I'm just kind of freestyling and doing my thing. And you can kind of tell when you turn somebody in the chair and like, what do you think, man? And you can see it in their face whether they like that shit or not. You know what I'm saying? And he'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, man, you don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll try to do a little bit more. And then, you know, he's like, all right, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, all right, man, whatever, man. Because I try to ask you what you want. You can't tell me, so now I'm guessing. And he had that kind of Don Kingish looking kind of hair. So I'm assuming you still like that kind of shape. You know what I'm saying? But so this last week, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what, man? I'm not even going to ask him what he wants. I'm just going to cut it how I want to cut it because he never tells me. So I just cut it. And I cut all of it off, man.
Would have been
man, I just started going through it, man. And then I turned him in the chair, man. And that's the first time he looked at his head, and I could tell he really liked it. He was like, yeah, you know, I like that. Yeah, that's good. And I'm like, ooh, I should have just did that from the jump. You know what I'm saying? But you never know.
That's the thing about hair, too. It's like, hey, it's okay, like, because I think about this with females a lot, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially females, because you know how girls will be. You think you should go short? You think I long or blonde?
I don't answer them questions.
I literally just tell them. I say, hey, it'll grow back.
Yeah,
it's like that's the beautiful thing about hair, especially younger. I know when you get older, you need biotin. That's gonna be great for your hair, but it's one of those where it's like people get scared to take chances.
Yeah,
they get the same look. They don't want, and I'm sometimes guilty, but I got to have a lot of fun when I was younger. I went crazy. I wrestled and I had blonde streaks here and did the tips and did everything that you could imagine. I had a great time with it. I had the shag that was below my eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I try not to, with some of the trends today, I don't want to put that person down because it's just like when you look back, it's like, dude, they'll probably go to a normal one, but have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, if I could show y'all like my 7th grade picture, I'll never talk about a style. I make fun of my son every once in a while because, you know, they got that little bushy style going on now. But, man, if I ever showed him my hair, he would probably clown me. I would never hear the end of it till the day I died. My hair was that bad. And I thought it was, like, great. I thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I, like, styled it up, you know what I'm saying, a little stair step / vanilla ice type of little swoop, and man, I thought I was the coolest thing walking. And looking back at that thing, man, I look ridiculous, like ridiculous.
But times change, you know. That's
I
that's
probably
the
look
thing.
ridiculous then too, man. It was bad. I had a big old hoop in my ear. Like it was silly. But,
what, like for football, if you have a fro, how does that work for your helmet?
Oh, my son just mashes it all in there.
That's it.
Yeah, man. He you know, his hair it's way out here, and he'll just mash it down up in there, man. I look at it as a bonus, man. I'm like, you know, maybe it's protecting you, less concussions. You know what I'm saying?
See, I just didn't know. I didn't know if there's like, if they had to braid or what. Like,
I mean, if it's out of control that bad, you will probably have to get it braided if your head can't fit inside the helmet. Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to get it braided. But my son, he squeezes his up in there. And he's cool, you know what I'm saying? And the hair really conforms to whatever shape you put it on. Like, if I take my hat off now, my hair is going to be conformed to how I have my hat. You know what I'm saying? That's how our hair is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it ain't that bad.
All right. You know, one of the crazy things in football that I didn't know for a long time, and I know because it's one of Taylor's favorite running backs, is about when they had like dreadlocks or braided hair. It's like they had to come up with the rule that if the hair is outside of the helmet, you can grab it. It's fair game. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
That is a real thing in the NFL. If your hair is outside of the helmet, and you can grab it,
would be the fastest way to start a fight with me, man. Like if you pull my hair out on that field, we're getting kicked out of this.
Do you want to know who made that rule? Like who basically caused that rule?
Probably beast mode, huh? Who?
Ricky Williams.
Really?
Miami Dolphins.
You know, Ricky was a little ahead of his time, man. You know, he liked to partake a little bit, man.
You know, if I had to pick a running back My like most underrated running back, which I don't know if he's underrated, but man, he never got a ring, and that's LT, LaDainian Tomlinson.
I like LaDainian, man. My guy is Barry Sanders, man.
Barry.
Barry Sanders is underrated, man. Like, if you go back and look at his numbers, he was on pace to shatter all the records.
Yeah.
With no line. They didn't even try to help him in Detroit. And he was still on pace to shatter all records. So when they say the greatest running back, they say Jim Brown or Emmitt Smith or Walter Payton, and I'm like, man, I really think it's Barry Sanders, man. You know what I'm saying? He was a bad boy, man. He did a lot with less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because even I think about like Derrick Henry too.
Yeah.
And it's like he has long hair.
Yeah.
And it's like I've watched him get pulled down. I'm like, oh, I bet it hurts.
That's the only way to get him down though, because he'll hurt you, man. Derrick Henry will hurt you.
He'll just run you over. Yeah. He's a train, dude.
You gotta get out of his way, man. Trip him.
Oh man. Well, we're getting towards the end of the episode. So I know you gave out some shout outs earlier.
Yeah.
But is there anything you want to tell anybody? Is there any message you want to give out? Any other shout outs? Anything like that?
No, just kind of get the word out to tell people to come down there to our barbershop, 108 West 5th Street. We're right across from the Hayden Liberty Center. We cut any kind of hair, and I don't think a lot of shops around here can say that. There ain't a type of hair we can't cut. You know what I'm saying? We might mess up every once in a while, man, but we'll get you right, man. It'll be on the house. But man, we can cut Hispanic, white, black. It doesn't matter. We get a lot of kids that come over and say a shop couldn't do this, or they didn't want to cut their hair, or they couldn't do this, or they don't have an appointment. Man, we do walk-ins, and just come on in, man. Like, sometimes you got to wait, but we'll get to you, and I promise you'll get a good haircut. You'll be satisfied, man.
Come in and talk to the OG.
Come here, talk to Unc and OG, man. And yeah, man. Tren Setterz. My bad. I should have said that.
No, that's good.
But yeah, man. I think you'll have a good time in there, man. And if you catch us on one of them days, man, where we got a shop full of people, it's gonna be hilarious, man.
Hey, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Keith, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
I've had a blast. I feel like I've literally just been in a barbershop talking, man. I enjoy it.
This is just a little snippet of it, man. If you come down there on a good day, man, I'm telling you, man, it's wild.
All right, my man. Well, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
We're gonna end this the same way we always do. We're gonna point at the camera. We're gonna tell everybody have a great day.
Have a great day.
We'll see y'all later.
All right.
Who are you?